all for taking the time to join us today as we celebrate our Chesterfield County senior volunteers. My name is Rachel Ramirez, and I have the honor of being the co-chair of the Chesterfield County Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame Committee with Susan Revere of the City of Richmond Public Library Foundation. I have been the executive director for the Lifelong Learning Institute since 2014, and it's my honor to welcome you to the Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame ceremony and celebration today. We would like to welcome our community leaders, nominees, nominators, family and friends of our honored guests, as well as everyone from our community who have joined us today. Thank you all for prioritizing this important event today. As we launch into our program today, please find yourself a comfortable seat and warm up your cheeks a little. Prepare to smile a lot. All right, and as you can see here, our program for today includes welcome, the Zoom housekeeping points, an invocation by Reverend Justin House, national anthem, opening remarks by Dr. Casey, introduction of speaker by Debbie Preston. Our keynote speech will be by Doug Pick of Feedmore, recognition of our nominees, Susan Revere and Dr. Ann Wellford. The induction of our 2021 members will be introduced by Dr. James Worsley, and closing remarks by Dr. Ann Wellford. Now at this time, I am pleased to introduce Reverend Justin D. House, who will be providing the invocation today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. God of grace and peace, we thank you for the opportunity to share and celebrate service and sacrifice. We thank you for all of the honorees today and for what they have experienced and the care and compassion that was shared to those in need. We also celebrate, God, the Chesterfield community. And we thank you for safety, we thank you for health, and we thank you for strength on this day. And we pray that what is experienced today offers inspiration to others to serve, to share, to bring a smile to those faces that are discouraged. But prayerfully, all the things that we do are pleasing in your sight. Thank you for the moment, and we're excited for what we will experience. This is our prayer together. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend House. And we will now listen to the national anthem. Feel free to stand if you prefer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I know we are all grateful that they shared their musical talent in service to our country. Dr. Joseph Casey has been the Chesterfield County Administrator since July 2016. And Dr. Casey holds a bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Richmond, a master's degree in public administration, and a doctorate in public policy and public administration from Virginia Commonwealth University. He is a certified public accountant who started his career with the KPMG accounting firm. Dr. Casey also participates in many community projects and mission-based work through his church. He and his wife, Suzanne, have 3 children. And Dr. Casey.
Well, thank you, Rachel, and thank you. You know, just even hearing that choir sing, Rachel, brought back memories of just seeing them in person. It was one of my favorite musical acts I've seen, being county administrator. And if I recall, I think they did that and actually sang something, you know, in the middle of the ceremony as well, or at the end. So I can't wait to see that men's group back together again to entertain and bring value to us. I also appreciate the Reverend House for starting that off. And I'll just share, you know, I'm part of a daily devotional, and just the one I got today just fits right in with what this is all about. And there's something from Paul, I believe, that says, not grow weary in doing right was the theme. And this is all about all of you not being weary in doing what's right. I mean, just you are the role models to me. For all those over age 60, I'm going to be joining that club, you know, sooner than later. But it's just inspirational to see how a life well served, life well done never ends. And I know, Rachel, it's not just the volunteer work you do. Rachel will espouse lifelong learning is right there with it. And I think both of those things too help you out, help your neighbor out, and more importantly, you know, for Chesterfield, helps our strangers that are in our neighborhoods and our communities. I also want to give a shout out to you. You know, this time last year, we just did not know how long this dark passage that we would be under. In fact, I think if I recall, we were still grabbing on to just maybe let's delay it a month or delay it 2 months, and we'll all get back in person when this blows over. And I think we finally had to try this virtually. And I'll give you all credit, because I think last time when we did this virtually, nobody really knew how to do a Zoom call, quite frankly. And I think, you know, we've all learned in the last year how to mute our buttons when we needed to, and make sure that our backgrounds and our cameras are only on when we want them to be on. So you all, for again, over that 60 age population, you have come so far, so fast, just in a technological role. And but I do want to thank you all. You all are role models in many ways. If you did not know, you know, we have a community vaccination goal of getting 75% of our eligible population vaccinated. To me, that's the simple term of how you get to herd immunity. And the 60 and above age group is really our only demographic that has achieved that goal. So we still need to learn from you about how to do things in life, even getting vaccinated. So congratulations on achieving that. I think actually the over 80 population is over 85% vaccinated, which is just amazing, considering, you know, some of that is some challenges of logistics and transportation, but hopefully that shows you where we are. I want to say, you know, over this last year, all of you could have done what many have done across the country, and that's just to kind of close your doors, turn on a television and wait it out indoors. Wait it out alone, wait it out just by doing things virtually or as a phone call. You in essence are heroes in how you went to the front lines this last year. You got out, you volunteered, you did what you could in the community. I think this last year, and Rachel or someone may espouse it, this was a record year as far as nominees. And I guess that's correlated to the record amount of hours. I think someone told me we had over 40,000 volunteer hours from those over the age of 60. And that's just remarkable. You know, I'm proud to say my mother, who lives 300 miles away, if it wasn't for volunteering this last year, I would have worried tremendously more about her, but she helped out at her church in cooking food for a food bank distribution site. And again, every time I talked to her, that was the moment and highlight of her day of making the food and being part of teams of delivering it to people who could not otherwise get fed, who did not have support networks of children or other family members who could not get to them. Some were restricted by state travels. If you remember, during the depths of this pandemic, we we were worried ourselves going up to visit her that we could get back into Virginia without having to go through some National Guard. I mean, it's just amazing what we all had to go through. But I just want to thank you personally and professionally. What you do makes our job easier, because if you didn't do it, we would have a void and gap in the community. We would have a void and gap that either we would have to tax more and staff more and provide more resources that were government funded, or we would not, or people would go without the services that they are getting. So you are one of the secret ingredients, and I guess it's not really a secret if we have about so many of you celebrating today. But hopefully, these are the types of things in the future where we can get together in person. I know those that are being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think we're going to get a chance to meet and see and hear a little bit more about your stories in public, and that will be on our television channel. And that's before the Board of Supervisors. And just to relay how important this is, not just to me as a county administrator, but to our Board of Supervisors, I think we have 4, if not 5 of our board members on this Zoom call right now. And it's Jim Holland, Chris Winslow, Jim Engel, and Kevin Carroll. And I think Leslie Haley was actually trying to figure out how to connect too. So, there are rare times when 4 or 5 board members get together for a singular purpose in the middle of a day. And this is them on their own time showing their support to all of you. Because again, if you didn't do what you did, it would make their jobs harder. And Rachel, amazingly through technology, is getting all of our board members, at least on the screen I see. So they are all there in front of you. It goes without saying there's a couple of key staff, primarily through our Citizen Information and Resource Department, headed by Emily Ashley. And then right behind with everyone on this channel probably knows Debbie Preston, because if you wouldn't be here if you didn't know who Debbie Preston was and her role with advocacy and the aging and disability services. And then Rachel, yourself and Susan Revere, as co-chairs of this group, off the charts. And again, what a relationship, what a county. And I thank you so much. Wish you the best, and see those inductees on May 26th, and hope to see the rest of you in person sooner than later. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Casey, and offering those inspiring words. And now I'd like to introduce, as Dr. Casey mentioned, Debbie Preston, who's the manager of the Chesterfield Office of Aging and Disability Services. Debbie holds a master's degree in gerontology from VCU, an undergraduate degree in social work from Longwood University. She's a licensed nursing home administrator and has more than 20 years of experience working as an advocate and developing resources for older adults. She brings this wealth of experience as she serves seniors and individuals with disabilities in the county. Debbie. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie. You can use the unmute button. That was my fault.
That's okay. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Dr. Casey, and good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today to celebrate 19 amazing nominees whose volunteer endeavors and civic participation are to be commended as they exemplify this year's Older Americans Month theme, which recognizes the power of connection and engagement older adults provide in building strong communities. Volunteerism is not only a work of heart, yet an example of strength of character, strength of commitment, and strength of contributions. Most importantly, the strength of a community is sustained by volunteers through their individual and collective endeavors that form a sturdy foundation that support resilient and thriving communities such as Chesterfield County. It is due to the ongoing efforts of our 19 volunteers that help to provide food to the hungry, hope to the disheartened, wisdom to the younger generation, resources to the disenfranchised, innovative solutions to new challenges, rapid response to emergencies, continuity of services, and a solid framework to support public and private service industry infrastructure during times of crisis and uncertainty. Chesterfield County recognizes the invaluable role and distinct contributions of our 19 nominees, especially throughout this unprecedented past year. We are truly grateful for your service. I would like to leave you with a quote from the Reverend Henry Melville. "We cannot live for ourselves alone. Our lives are connected by 1,000 invisible threads, and along these sympathetic fibers, our actions run as causes and return to us as results. The power of volunteer connections, making a meaningful difference in the lives of others, is truly a superpower, the heartbeat of a community, if you will, that is needing and building resilient communities, strengthening bonds, combating loneliness, and lifting spirits, especially in the wake of a national health crisis. It is the ongoing commitment of volunteers, such as yourself, that create impactful and thriving communities that make Chesterfield a great place to live, work, play, and age well. On behalf of Chesterfield County Office of Aging and Disability Services, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to each of our nominees. Keep shining your light. I'd now like to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Doug Pick. Doug is the CEO of Feedmore. He joined Feedmore as president and chief executive officer in November 2012. Prior to this role, he spent 12 years as an executive with Capital One in Richmond, where he was highly regarded for his ability to drive complex corporate-wide change. Doug received his Bachelor of Science degree in Marketing Management at the McIntire School of Commerce at the University of Virginia. Doug currently serves as the chair of the Federation of Virginia Food Banks and as the co-chair for the VCU Health Equity Steering Committee. Dedicated to the community, Doug has served on numerous local boards, state committees, and national task force. Please give a warm welcome to Doug.
Hi, everybody. Debbie, thank you so much. I love that book behind you, that Old Age is Over. I totally agree. Didn't like it to begin with. I am one of those folks who's gone past that 60-year-old threshold, but what a pleasure it is to be here with everybody. I don't win the furthest Zoom award away. Chris over in England does that, a few miles north of London, but I am talking to you from Oregon. Every 2 years, my son and I get together someplace cool in the world, just the two of us, and spend some quality time and hiking and anything else. So it's great to be here from across the country. And what an honor it is to be with all of you. I have lived and worked in Chesterfield, Richmond, Henrico, and Goochland, and I must tell you, in all honesty, Chesterfield reigns supreme. Just incredibly wonderful, lovely people. Dr. Casey, incredibly well managed and well run. I go back all the way to Mr. Ford and Bill Bosher back in my days with the Chesterfield Public Education Foundation. So it's a long lineage you follow, but just superb work. And thank you from all of us for the work you all do. I'm not unfamiliar with volunteering. I started volunteering when I was a 16-year-old. I worked as a big brother at an orphanage in Roanoke, and I come from a family of do-gooders, so it's somewhat in the genes. And I think perhaps most importantly, as a privilege enough to be the CEO of Feedmore, where we have about 100 employees, but believe it or not, every day pre-COVID, we had 200 volunteers every day. So we simply cannot do what we do without the volunteer core we have. And let's go deeper into volunteering, the joyous work that brings us here today. The essence of being human, to volunteer. When I coined that title a few weeks ago, little did I know I was not so original. And upon my research, who knew that in 350 BC, none other than Aristotle asked and answered, what is the essence of life? To serve others and do good, all the way back in 350 BC. So not many original thoughts anymore. I also want to warn everybody that I know full well that I'm speaking to the choir here. When I talk about volunteering, you all get it even better than I do. But let's jump into kind of the definition of being human and humanity. Through my research, there was no shortage of folks weighing in on the subject. I'll utilize a number of their quotes and thoughts throughout my 10 minutes of conversation here. There was a consistent theme around being in this thing together, needing each other, that we are inextricably tied. As Heather French Henry, actually a former Miss America, now well-known fashion designer, said, volunteering is at the very core of being human. No one has ever made it through life without someone's help. And one author stated, the essence of being human is that we are inextricably connected. Mine and your actions form a ripple in the time continuum, as is proven by both science, actually in the quantum theory, and by spiritual masters for the millennia. Interesting that the top religions throughout the world have some version of the golden rule. Now, if you agree that we are indeed connected, what do you choose to do with your part in that? For all of you, it is undoubtedly to support others. Another author wrote, the very essence of humanity is being compassionate to your companions. Yes, we often show love to our dear ones. What makes it humanity is to show the same love and tenderness to the ones in need of it, even though we may not be their closest ones. For example, helping a stranger navigate a strange city, giving them directions, helping a lost dog find its home, or simply giving a gentle smile to your co-passenger in some form of public transit. All are real signs of human essence. I had a dear friend, and he lived this so well. He used to say that I try to do something nice for someone every day, but it doesn't count if anyone finds out about it. That's hard to do, by the way. But you folks get that, right? You nominees get that. And dollars to donuts, each of your family members and friends who are on this Zoom call with you could give countless examples of your random acts of kindness. It's who you are. You live this essence day in and day out, no doubt in my mind. And I bet all the family members don't know half of what you've done because you didn't do it for the recognition, just like my friend. Ivan Shire, one of the true American pioneers in the field of volunteerism, really quite something's worth looking up, defined you all beyond your acts of kindness. And he said the broadest and maybe the most meaningful definition of volunteering is doing more than you have to because you want to in a cause you consider good. And if I look through the list of 19 recipients, and I think about 15 causes, there's certainly no shortage of causes in our community. Now, you also do this because it makes you feel good. As James Matthew Barrie, the Scottish novelist and actually the co-creator of Peter Pan, said, those who bring sunshine to the lives of others cannot keep it from themselves, And it turns out it's not just fairy dust from Tinkerbell that does that. Scientists and doctors tell us it is more. In the book, The Hidden Gifts of Helping, Dr. Stephen Post explains that in giving back, the mesolimbic system of the brain, known as the reward pathway, actually activates chemicals, which make us feel good, such as dopamine and serotonin. He further explains that oxytocin, which is called the compassion hormone, is released when volunteering or helping. The oxytocin interferes with stress response. Giving back not only enables feelings of trust and peace, but curtails the presence of those stress hormones. And when oxytocin is released in your system, it actually aids in cell repair and growth. You know, I often speak of the volunteers streaming into our building each morning, and they come in with their heads down and their brows furrowed, obviously thinking about something that's on their mind, work, relationships. It's striking to see them when they leave. Their heads are up, they're looking into the sky, smiles abound, and it's really quite the juxtaposition from when they came in. Obviously, it's those natural chemicals at work. But there's other good reasons. Volunteering is good for you. Did you know older adults who volunteer are at 24% less risk of an early death? They have better cognition and general mental health, which may help slow or prevent the onset of dementia. The better health, they have a strong sense of purpose, enabling less depression and even less pain. And better social relationships, makes sense, decreases loneliness, builds self-esteem. And get this is only for the single volunteers that are out there today, but according to Match.com, 80% of people who had volunteered in the last year would be more likely to date someone they'd met through volunteering. So good in so many different aspects. My son can testify to that. So in general, volunteers report significantly higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. As the last quote said, giving sunshine to others and yourselves. There was this famous radio host in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Bernard Meltzer. He said, there's no better exercise for your heart than reaching down and helping to lift someone up. Another fascinating angle for you volunteers and the essence of humanity is your consistent view towards the future. A common thread from my research spoke to the essence of humanity being our role in shaping the future of others around us and the future of the planet. They believed we all have a role to play, not in some grand scheme, but in the way things could turn out for the better. That we all have a talent or talents which can be used for the betterment and improvement of the future. And you folks are really going to totally get this quote attributed to this author, Nelson Henderson. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. I love that. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. And I can just bet that you folks are always looking forward with anticipation and wonder, excited about the chance to make a difference, whether you get to sit in that shade or not. And there's Leo Roston, he was an American humorist, and he said the purpose of life is not to be happy, but to matter, to be productive, to be useful, to have it make a difference that you have lived at all. And I bet most of you don't do this volunteer work alone, do you? You often do it in teams. I know Rachel at LLI, there's just an amazing group of folks. I'm very, very connected to one of them, my mother-in-law. But you don't do it alone. And that brings me to my all-time favorite quote. I talked about it in nonprofit circles all the time. It's a great cultural anthropologist, Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So it's great to be with you. It's time to move on with the agenda, and really time to move on with you, because certainly you are the stars of the show. And all of us honoring you today know how selfless you are. I know all of us would agree with the author, Sherry Ruth Anderson, who said this about you: volunteers don't get paid, not because they're worthless, but because they're priceless. And you are. And there's this Freemason. We know that your good works will live on. The Freemason and author Albert Pike summed it up best, and I love this one too. What we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. What we have done for others and the world remains and is immortal. So I and we at Feedmore, and Joe, please thank your mom for volunteering at the 300 miles away to food bank, the special people that we work with. When I've been asked about my observations about this last year, I've come to often say that I've come to realize that the most resilient thing on this earth, is the human spirit. And each of you wonderful nominees embodies that human spirit. You've shown us wonderfully authentic and amazing living examples of the essence of being human, to volunteer. It's really been quite my honor to be amongst you today. On behalf of a very, very grateful Chesterfield community, we applaud you and sincerely thank you. I wish you the best of ceremonies and awards and showering of love from all your loved ones and friends. It's just a very special occasion, and just wonderful to be with you. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Doug, for being with us today and sharing those words and those quotes and all the way back to Aristotle. I mean, that's incredible that it's been true for so long. So now, here to get us started in recognizing our county's amazing volunteers, I'd like to introduce Susan Revere from the Richmond Public Library Foundation. Susan has served as co-chair of the Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame Committee since 2013. Susan?
Rachel, thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you to all of our event attendees today. We appreciate you joining us as we celebrate our county's inspiring senior volunteers. Dr. Ann Williford will be helping me introduce our nominees this afternoon. Dr. Williford serves as Associate Professor and Gerontologist for Community Voice in VCU's Department of Gerontology, where she formerly served as chair. Now, we would like to share with you our priceless 2021 Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame nominees. First, we begin with Elizabeth Betty Anthony. Every week, Betty Anthony places phone calls to semi-homebound seniors enrolled in the Telephone Reassurance Program, known as TRP. She has taken time to get to know each of them and engages them in friendly conversation on topics of genuine interest to them. As they talk, Betty shares resource information and ensures they are in position to benefit from other outreach programs. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, the number of participants in the TRP program increased last year, and volunteers had to transition to placing the calls from home. Betty took steps to facilitate the change and continued all the calls without missing a beat. Additionally, she has helped the staff as a front desk volunteer, answering calls, responding to citizen requests, and assisting with clerical projects. She cheerfully accepts any task and completes the work in a professional manner. Betty's loyal and cheerful volunteer service supports the mission of Aging and Disability Services and makes a difference for seniors in Chesterfield County. Our second nominee is Richard Botzett. Richard is always ready to help anyone, however needed, at Chester Christian Church, as well as others in the surrounding neighborhood. For many years, he has served as a Sunday school teacher, church elder, and door greeter. Richard also delivers meals and groceries to individuals' homes, drives people to their medical appointments, and provides volunteer work for other needed jobs as they arise in and around the church building. Up until 2018, for a total of 25 years, Richard served youth in the community as a volunteer tutor and mentor at the Chesterfield Juvenile Detention Center, in addition to all his volunteer services for the church and its neighborhood. Richard is available to help anyone in any way needed for the people in his church, and he also extends that generous spirit of giving into the neighborhood and the larger community. Our third nominee is Emil Carlson. After retiring from the U.S. Air Force with 21 years of service, Emil Carlson became a master gardener with the county's Cooperative Extension Service. He has traveled to many homes to collect soil information and help residents learn how to create and maintain a healthy lawn. He has educated large numbers of young children and their families about the importance of pollinators, bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds in the Bumblebee Jamboree program. Emil has completed over 162 hours of continuing education since joining the program in 2008, far more than the number required to maintain his standing as a knowledgeable master gardener. He continues building his knowledge base and shares up-to-date information that benefits the residents of Chesterfield County as he conducts special programs and educates individuals, families, and groups in our community.
Our fourth nominee, Andrew B. Gregory. The police department's trust pamphlet is utilized by county schools to teach middle and high school students about laws, police work, and how to handle police encounters. Andy Gregory served as the editor of this impactful pamphlet, which now appears on school websites. It includes information about laws and how crimes affect the community. As a volunteer, Andy also monitors supplies for the police property unit. His primary tasks are to help to ensure vendor files and personnel files remain up to date. In the police department's community services division, Andy covers the reception desk and phone calls while also creating, proofing, and/or editing materials for the community services staff. Additionally, he volunteers for special events and training scenario acting. For example, he helps with canine lineups for the canine training and certification. Andy often acts in various other scenarios as a volunteer participant in the recruit training at the police academy. Our fifth nominee, Dr. Michael R. Hanley. In 2003, Dr. Michael R. Hanley was recruited as a volunteer dentist for the Lucy Core Dental Clinic. At first, the clinic only served Lucy Core residents. Later, the clinic expanded and began offering free services to uninsured seniors in Chesterfield, Petersburg, and the Tri-City area. Dr. Hanley soon recruited other dentists to expand the service that could be provided by the clinic. He has remained dedicated to offering free dental care to uninsured seniors in our community. Each week, Dr. Hanley serves in the clinic and also trains dental students from the VCU School of Dentistry in the oral health care needs of our elders. Without this service, many seniors would suffer physically and emotionally due to the lack of oral health care, which can lead to isolation and depression. It's estimated that Dr. Hanley has put a smile on over 4,000 faces. Our sixth nominee is Raymond W. Weldon Hazelwood. In Chesterfield, Weldon Hazelwood volunteers for the county's Cooperative Extension Community Emergency Response Team, otherwise known as CERT, and the police department. He has stood in lineups for drug dogs and hidden in the woods from bloodhounds being trained for tracking. Also, as a master gardener, Weldon conducts programs such as rain barrel workshops and the Bumblebee Jamboree. As part of his CERT team, he currently assists with the county's vaccination clinics. Statewide, he serves the State Corporation Commission. At the Insurance Regulatory Examiners Society, he helps ensure integrity in state and federal insurance regulatory bodies. He has traveled to Honduras 11 times, spearheading clean water projects there. Weldon is active in the community and gives back not only to Chesterfield, but also to the state, federal, and international communities.
Our seventh nominee is Joanne Hodgson. Several days a week, Joanne Hodgson volunteers for the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office. She is a vital member of the team and serves as the courthouse greeter in the main courts building, providing a key service to the staff and citizens who enter the main courthouse. Joanne primarily monitors the court docket boards and assists individuals with finding their assigned courtroom. She also directs individuals to the clerk's office, as well as other departments and resources in the building. Her service allows the sworn deputies to assist other citizens and maintain their focus on safety and security of the building. Joan demonstrated her dedication during the COVID-19 pandemic by fearlessly returning to volunteer last August when the courts, maintaining safety protocols, resumed their operations. Our eighth nominee is Nadine Kadlabowski. A retired librarian, Nadine Kadlabowski now volunteers her time at the Bon Air Library branch nearly every day it is open. Her main contribution is managing the hundreds of donations the library receives. Using software, she evaluates them for the Friends of the Library book sales and maintains the ongoing in-branch book sale, keeping it stocked with fresh donations. She is willing to do whatever is asked of her, including shelving when there is a backlog. She uses her abilities to assist patrons when she is working in the public area of the library if the staff is busy. Nadine lives near the library and frequently walks in the neighborhood. She loves talking to her neighbors and encouraging them to visit the library. Nadine also cares for the neighborhood's little free library and serves as a volunteer for special community events. Our ninth nominee is Stephen Kunman. Stephen has volunteered for the Lifelong Learning Institute in Chesterfield as a board member and officer since 2016. He served as secretary for several years and currently serves as treasurer. Also on the technology committee, Steve assists with computer equipment upgrades and maintenance. Over the past year, he has taught a class and served as a Zoom host for over 10 hours of classes and events weekly. Steve gave an abundance of time to help the staff implement a successful online course offering and facilitate the virtual platform for the LLI family. As a board of directors member, he is attentive to details and ensures the board always understands the organization's current financial status. Finally, he is very compassionate and offers a helping hand to anyone who needs technical assistance. The Lifelong Learning Institute is so grateful for Steve's caring attitude, time, energy, and enthusiasm.
Our 10th nominee is Sally Loth. After retiring as a teacher from Chalkley Elementary, Sally has volunteered her time there ever since. Her various volunteer activities include United Methodist Family Services, Change the World RVA, Bridging RVA, and Chalkley Connection, a ministry of her church. Sally started as a book buddy mentor and soon recruited more mentors through her church. She coordinates church and neighborhood drives to provide school supplies, winter coats, clothes closet apparel, face masks for students and their families, and financial aid for households in crisis. As the lead of this ministry, she has expanded the service to support the staff and families of Chalkley. She has become the school's go-to for basic needs. Her nominator says, Sally's ongoing effort to provide meaningful and impactful support for these students after her retirement is unrivaled. Our 11th nominee, Patricia Paget, volunteers regularly at the Master Gardener Help Desk. She takes time to really understand each customer's situation and ask perceptive questions. She is equally thoughtful when crafting responses, being careful to provide options and help them understand the pros and cons of each course of action. With the government closure of COVID-19, Pat became instrumental in helping the staff develop the virtual help desk, which serves volunteers efficiently and effectively. She also trains other volunteers and new seedling master gardeners. Pat has shared her expertise as a public speaker, presenting seminars on topics such as water conservation. Her work has educated county residents and contributed toward a healthier and more sustainable environment. Pat recently reached her latest milestone of 2,000 service hours and will be recognized for this achievement by the Master Gardener program this year. Very few volunteers in this program achieve such an impressive record. Our 12th nominee is Peter Plord. Since the beginning of 2019, Peter Plord has been a member of the Chesterfield Community Emergency Response Team. He has volunteered in various capacities and assisted with numerous exercises. Last summer, Peter helped Chesterfield Fire and EMS at their COVID-19 testing sites. He has also volunteered as a member of the Medical Reserve Corps since 2019. Most recently, Peter has been volunteering at the vaccination pods as an MRC member, serving in leadership positions. His dedication to our community impelled him to continue his volunteer work during the COVID-19 pandemic, even though his age placed him in a high-risk category. Peter's services at the testing sites and his ongoing volunteer participation at the county health department's vaccination clinics are a testament to his commitment to help better the lives of Chesterfield County residents.
Our 13th nominee is Erin Porter. Erin has been a coach or referee with the Chester Presbyterian Basketball Association for over 25 years. He referees 2 or more games every Saturday during the season and recruits others to help keep the association a 100% volunteer-run organization. Due to the pandemic, many changes had to be made to allow kids the opportunity to play in the last year. Aaron is in the age demographic hardest hit by COVID-19. However, he never skipped a beat in his volunteer commitments. Aaron showed up during practices to check on the progress of teams, in addition to maintaining his weekly refereeing schedule for the 7-week season. This enabled the association to have more teams than originally planned and serve more kids. Over the years, he has trained a countless number of young athletes and impacted generations to come. Aaron's dedication and volunteer work will leave a legacy for the youth in our community. Our 14th nominee is Robert Bob Terrell. When the Parks and Recreation Department honored Bob with a Lifetime Volunteer Award for exemplary leadership, his name was affixed to a volunteer monument in the Harry Daniel Park at Iron Bridge. Bob has been active on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission since its inception, tactfully and tirelessly sharing his knowledge and talents. He also volunteers for the Chesterfield Basketball League and the Henning Athletic Association, holding memberships, directorships, and chair positions in these organizations. Bob works to ensure the county offers quality recreation experiences and provides all associations, leagues, and groups equal representation at the facilities. His service supports the ideal for citizens of all abilities to enjoy safe, quality amenities and engage in healthy activities. Bob's accomplishments, mentoring, philanthropy, and an ability to empower and install passion in others are a source of pride and inspiration for future leaders in our community. Our 15th nominee is David Van Aken. Dave has volunteered for aging and disability services in many capacities. He has transported supplies, set up for special events, served as a reading mentor in Chesterfield County Public Schools, and assisted however needed. A few years ago, Dave was asked to be Santa for a semi-homebound seniors holiday party. Afterward, he and another volunteer made house calls to those unable to attend. Dave noticed several much-needed home repairs, some which even jeopardized safety. In 2018, he established and continues to chair the Chesterfield Council on Aging's Senior Home Services Committee, devoting about 20 hours weekly to assess requests, coordinate volunteers, secure donated material, and oversee projects. Under Dave's leadership, the efforts of this committee have allowed a number of Chesterfield's eligible seniors to have their properties improved, brought up to code as needed, and to now enjoy being able to stay in their homes to age in place.
Our 16th nominee is Gary Warren. For the past 10 years, Gary Warren has led the food pantry collection ministry at Swift Creek Presbyterian Church in Mosley. Every week, he works there to gather and deliver all of the donations to a local food pantry. Gary's ministry benefits the church members by providing them a convenient venue to participate in this outreach program, while also helping those in need who depend on food donations to restock their grocery supplies. Each year, he also organizes and distributes the food collected for the special event, the church's annual Super Bowl Sunday. Gary is an outstanding volunteer because his service is ever faithful and dependable. His commitment to a reliable volunteer schedule ensures the donated items will get to the food pantry in a timely manner and into the hands of those who need them. Our 17th nominee is Lee White. Decades ago, Lee White and a few others started the Chester Presbyterian Basketball Association, and today the league is largely the same. Lee remains an integral part of the program, helping coach his grandson's team and often serving as a referee for games. The program wouldn't be what it is without his unwavering dedication. Due to COVID-19 concerns in the past year, the basketball season almost didn't happen. A plan was needed to allow referees to safely wear face masks, but still have an ability to use a whistle. Lee thought of small handheld boat horns that might be a solution. A handheld whistle was found and purchased, which allowed referees to keep their masks in place and use the handheld whistles to call the game. This simple yet brilliant plan was implemented, and the league officials are grateful for the safety strategy. Lee is always thinking of the next best thing for the league, the players and the volunteers that make it all happen. Our 18th nominee is Brian Williams. Brian Williams was an exceptional Chesterfield County employee for 30 years. Soon after retiring, he extended his dedication to the county as a volunteer, helping to maintain the grounds around the county complex. He shared his time, experience, and talents as a volunteer for the Department of Building and Grounds. Some of Brian's volunteer services required labor-intensive work. His volunteer duties and activities included lawn maintenance, operating heavy machinery, spraying weeds, patching asphalt, tree removal, and assisting with the operation of the sheriff's weekend workforce program. Brian's dedication to the county is impressive. After retirement, he continued his service as a volunteer for more than a year, as long as he was able to do so.
And our final and 19th nominee is Jane Wynn. The New Deliverance Evangelistic Church is extremely grateful to have Jane Wynn as a member. Since joining, she has extended herself into many areas of the church's ministries. As a volunteer, she oversees the kids tutoring program, the NDEC food bank outreach, assists with security, and serves as part of the women's ministry. Jane is very helpful in all that she does and is readily available for anything she is asked to do. She also works diligently with the Chesterfield Food Bank for greater community impact. In 2015, she headed the opening of the organization's new distribution site. As a result of her leadership, that site grew and eventually expanded to yet another location. She is committed to serving the church and the community, and always willing to lend a hand wherever needed. Jane exhibits a spirit of giving in all that she does. Dr. Williford, thank you for joining me in sharing our nominees' information. Now, let's all cheer and celebrate as we give our nominees a round of applause on the count of 3.
Share.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, all right.
Way to go!
Well done, well done.
Well done, well done.
Thank you so much.
Excellent job, excellent.
Thank you very much.
I don't know.
That was truly remarkable. Thank you, everyone. I would now like to introduce our next speaker. Dr. James Worsley was appointed Deputy County Administrator for Human Services in Chesterfield County in October 2020. Prior to being appointed deputy, he served as Director of Chesterfield County Department of Parks and Recreation. He holds a bachelor's degree in therapeutic recreation and a master's degree in management, both from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, as well as a doctorate in leadership from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Welcome, Dr. Worsley.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here today. I want to say welcome to all of our attendees, and certainly I want to reiterate Dr. Casey's comments by thanking the Department of Citizens Information Resources, Office of Aging and Disability Services, and the Chesterfield Council on Aging for all the hard work put into this great event that recognized such important members of our community, specifically Emily Ashley, Debbie Preston, Rachel Ramirez, and Susan Revere. Thank you all for all that you've done to make this a success today. And I am so proud of the 19 nominees that I have just had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about. You all are so deserving of this honor today. The Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame represents the best of the seniors in Chesterfield County. These senior citizens ages 60 or older have rendered invaluable volunteer service, not just for giving back with their time and talents, but also for the role model and the spirit of volunteerism they've completed in our community. Today, we are here to honor some of the county's shining stars, and you've seen all of them. Folks who have performed exceptional service to their community. Chesterfield County is a brighter place because of their work and their achievements, and I'm so happy to live, work, learn, and play here in Chesterfield County. The population of Chesterfield County is aging, and aren't we so lucky for that? Judging by the example of these fine folks, this year's 19 nominees have contributed in so many ways around the county. Let me give you a couple of examples. Making calls through the telephone reassurance program, delivering meals and volunteering at food banks, mentoring, volunteering at their local churches, offering free dental care to ensure that uninsured seniors have access, coordinating church and school drives, volunteering at vaccination clinics, and coaching as well. Nominees, on behalf of the organizations who have benefited from your service, your families, friends, and the county citizens, thank you for sharing your time, your talents, your wisdom, and experience with us. Each of you are invaluable members of the community, not just for giving back of their time, but for the wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and commitment you offer to our community. Today, we are here to celebrate each of you. You turned your leisure time, yes, your leisure time, into volunteer time. I'm amazed and inspired by our volunteers and recognize my own life and career have been improved through the efforts of individuals such as you. Even though just 3 are being inducted into the Hall of Fame today, I want you each to know how grateful I am for your time and dedication to your neighborhoods, your schools, and your communities. Thank you for all you've accomplished and for all you continue to do. Congratulations to all nominees and inductees. I look forward to congratulating the 3 inductees in person at the May 26th Board of Supervisors meeting. And in closing, I would like to leave you a quote by Audrey Hepburn. And you may have heard of this before. As you grow older, you will discover that you have 2 hands, one hand for helping yourself and the other for helping others. Thank you.
Dr. Worsley, thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. And as you say, it is now the moment you've all been waiting for. I would now like to introduce the 3 inductees to the 2021 Chesterfield County Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame in no particular order. Nominated by Tammy Shackelford with the Lucy Core Dental Clinic, Dr. Michael Hanley, you are now inducted into the Chesterfield County Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame. Congratulations, sir. Nominated by Jessica Smith with Communities in Schools at Chalkley Elementary, Sally Loth. You are now inducted into the Chesterfield County Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame. Congratulations. And our third inductee was nominated by Dan Cohen with the Department of Community Enhancement. Dave Van Aken, you are now inducted into the Chesterfield County Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame. Congratulations. All of our inductees will receive a special Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame pin in addition to a resolution from the Board of Supervisors. Congratulations to our 2021 inductees, and thank you to all of our nominees and nominators. We look forward to celebrating with each and every one of you for next year, our 40th Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame ceremony in person in 2022. For now, though, all our attendees will be unmuted, and on the count of 3, let's give our inductees a round of applause. 1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Bravo!
Congratulations.
Go!
Congratulations.
Yay.
Tammy.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Oh.
Thank you, everyone. That was stellar. And now we turn to Dr. Ann Welliford for our closing remarks. Dr. Welliford.
We hope also that everyone received their peace lily from Petals and Bows on behalf of your honor and recognition, because that is symbolic. Many today have spoken about the impact of the role all of our nominees serve in our community. And I wanted to take a moment to share some comments from geriatrician Bill Thomas, who speaks of elderhood as an anticipated stage in later life beyond adulthood, with roles that only elders are able to play. He states that naturally, elders serve as legacy creators on this journey of discovery, that elders can create and share legacies and impact with an impact that extends beyond all of our physical lives. Elders also serve as wisdom givers, giving wisdom through storytelling and sometimes through serving as mirrors for others around us. Elders also serve as peacemakers, able to see many sides of a situation. The value of peacemaking skills is beyond compare among our elders. We can see from these roles that our world needs more peacemakers. Our world certainly needs more elders. And as we have heard today, our communities are growing older, and aren't we grateful for that? We are so very grateful for all of your support of the community. We are grateful not just for what you do, but who you are. Thank you and congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Anne, for being with us today and for sharing those words and wrapping this up so nicely. I'd like to also thank our speakers today for embracing this online format once again. Thank you to all of our nominees and inductees for your amazing contributions to our Chesterfield County community. Thank you to our nominators, community leaders, family, and friends who joined us today as we celebrated our wonderful senior volunteers. On behalf of Susan and myself, we'd like to recognize several individuals who made this event possible. And just please wave when I call your name. I'll be spotlighting our Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame Committee. Miss Mary Ann Bailey, Beth Jorgensen, Mary Jones, Bill Lee, Debbie Preston, Dr. Ann Welliford, and Linda Yarbrough. Thank you all for the countless hours that you put into making this wonderful event possible. I'd also like to thank today our selection panel, who rose once again to the challenge to meet online and go through all 19 nominees. What a difficult job that selection process is. And we're very grateful for your time. I would just like to spotlight Susan Campbell, Eve Flippin, Lisa Motzhead, Gloria Myers, and Nancy Ross. All right. And we appreciate all the support we receive from the Chesterfield County Board of Supervisors, the Chesterfield Council on Aging, the Chesterfield Department of Communications and Media, the Chesterfield County Office of Aging and Disability Services, and all the nominees and nominating citizens and organizations. This year, we received donations by Helping Hand Senior Care Services, Lakewood at Home, and St. Matthias's Episcopal Church. This year's plants were provided by Petals and Bows Florist. Thank you all once again, and thank you for joining us today to recognize these amazing volunteers who truly make our Chesterfield County community and our world a better place.